Speaking of blue chip recruits, let's go back in time to when you were being recruited.
Ooh. It was a blast of the past.
Yeah, so when you were getting recruited, that was right when Sumlin got fired.
Yeah.
And Fisher was coming in. It kind of like threw a loop for our recruits. I know you, Leon, were kind of like our two top guys that stayed strong with your A&M commitment, and knew A&M was the home for you. Can you kind of talk about that process of getting recruited by A&M back in there? Maybe the swag copter with Sumlin, because you probably got recruited way back when you were a freshman, sophomore, so the swag copter was still in effect. But can you kind of talk about that?
Yeah. So it was definitely a crazy recruiting experience, because someone left and Jimbo came in 2 months before I signed. So I was like, well, crap. I don't really know. Jimbo didn't really recruit me at Florida State, because I think he kind of knew I was a Texas guy. Like I was like, okay, I want to stay close to home, kind of. Like I didn't want to really travel. You know what I mean? I didn't want to go thousands of miles away from home. So he didn't really recruit me. So I didn't really know Coach Fisher that well. So I was like, this is a big thing. Like I needed to find out if I really want to play for this guy. But what was really cool was within 24 hours of him landing in College Station, he called all the recruits up that were like committed and was like, hey, I really like y'all's class. I would love for y'all to come up whenever, like today, and meet with me and just like sit down and talk with me, like come with your family. And like, so like I got to go up there and like meet with him with my family, which was really cool for him, because I imagine that process for a coach is hectic, like moving into a new city, bringing his whole family, like uprooting all of them. Like, so it showed his character, I think, which was cool. So I was definitely like, okay, I love the school, and that's a big character boost for me. So I think that's a good thing. But yeah, that process, whenever I met with him and like sat down and talked to him and asked him kind of like the plan, like I didn't know anything for his plan, you know what I mean? So it was definitely like, okay, I still love the school. I'm still probably going to go to A&M. Like that was after my first time meeting him. So that was definitely like for sure. But throwback to the swag copter. I remember the first time the swag copter came to a game for us, and it was against Katy.
Oh, so Katy Taylor versus Katy.
Yeah, and if any of y'all know anything about Texas high school football, Katy is like kind of the kings.
Yeah.
So I think they came and we got
2 for 2 against them in high school.
0 for 4. I think they beat us like 49-7.
Okay.
Oh, no, 49-3, and we were the only team in the regular season who put up points on them.
Jake, but can you claim that though? How much did you participate in that game?
Like absolutely zero. But I'm gonna say I went 2 for 2.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So the swag, did he just come for you, or I guess there's probably some other recruits.
There's a lot of talented guys. Like I mean, so just from my school alone, Atito Abonia plays at UCLA. He's a dual sport guy who was just in the Reese's Senior Bowl.
Okay. So
he was on our team too. Preza Mehule is an all-conference USA guy for UTEP. Braden Mowry's here now. Trying to think of else. Josh Ferguson's at New Mexico. Like we had a really talented team, and then Katy had a bunch of guys then too. And I think that was whenever Rodney,
the running back.
Yeah, they're running. Well, they had Deneric Glass or DeAndre Glass.
DeAndre
Glass. Yeah. DeAndre Glass. There was so much talent like in that district. So like he just came to see a lot of people, but he talked to me, so I felt kind of cool.
Yeah, Kenny, I don't know if you remember this. Literally, Kevin Sumlin had this like helicopter that was like decked out and like the coolest like Adidas thing, and he would just fly it around and be like swag copter alert, and then he would just fly to games. It was awesome.
I remember hearing about that, but in track, you don't get any of that luxury when it comes to recruiting. You don't get to see anything crazy like that.
Yeah.
So speaking of recruiting, how do you think, or how have you seen recruiting has changed since you were being recruited? Because I feel like even since I've been here and watching other sports being recruited, it's like next level. They're putting on a show trying to get these people to come here.
Yeah, you're literally
now,
superstars.
NIL is now a thing, so you can be offering a lot more than just a fun, glitzy experience. So what have you seen in difference?
I mean, well, did y'all see that thing recently where a recruit signed like a $4 million NIL deal?
Was that the Tennessee quarterback?
I think so.
Yeah.
Or someone like that. He like signed, like as soon as he signed, it was like a $4 million NIL deal, excuse me.
Crazy.
Like, I mean, that's a whole new aspect that's going to be thrown into it, where it's like, it's almost like NFL now. It's like,
yeah, what's our salary cap?
Yeah,
seriously. What's our salary cap at A&M?
Literally, it's like.
Well, it's a good thing we're rich.
Yeah, seriously.
$100 oil.
Yeah, literally. But just thinking about like, if I'm a recruit now, like say I go back into their shoes, I'm gonna look like, okay, where can I go and get millions of dollars? Like that sounds, going back thinking of me as a high school kid, like thinking of $1 million in my pocket, that's
stupid.
Like I wouldn't know what to do with that. But like that's like something that these kids who are 5 stars are now considering. Like that's like a real thing and a real possibility to like, okay, as soon as I sign the dotted line, which place can also give me the most money too?
Yeah.
Like it's a
For
whole
making
new-
$10 an hour working at a summer camp, I was.
Yeah.
And if I was a good football player, making hundreds of thousands of dollars
I
potentially.
should go back in time and be a female kicker
Yeah,
for football.
go for
Yeah.
it.
Brand myself like that.
But
Maybe make some money.
as it definitely seems like nowadays it's the biggest push because they couldn't legally pay people was the facilities. That was the big thing. We got the new locker room. We have the sleep pods, and now it's like that's I guess an aspect of it, but it's really like what is my compensation?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean like so. Well, that's A&M's getting a big renovation here soon too.
Yeah.
Like it's like
Y'all are taking over the whole indoor track.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
we're
taking the
bulldozing
indoor
it.
track. We're taking like that whole entire side of Powell Field.
It's
like,
gonna be sweet.
Yeah, it's gonna be ridiculous. It's like $128 million or something
Chump
like that,
change.
or 200 something million. It's ridiculous. I got to see kind of the layout for it, and it is A&M's rich. That's
Yeah.
just kind of the
How big of a role do you think A&M's money and NIL played in this recruiting class?
not as much as people think. Being honest, A&M has kind of been building something for like the past few years. I mean, Jimbo's a great coach and a great recruiter. I keep saying Jimbo. I feel like you get mad at me for that. Coach Fisher is a great coach and also is a great recruiter. So, like, if you look at the coaching staff that we've put together, there's a lot of really great coaches on this staff, like Elijah Robinson, Terry Price, who else? Coach Craig, Damian Craig, like, and Coach Coley. Coach Coley was a OC a little bit for Georgia. back when they were-
The offensive line coach used to be a head coach.
Yeah, and him too. Like there's a ton of like really talented, really impressive coaches on this staff. Like why wouldn't you want to come play for assistant coaches who have head coach potential along with a head coach who's one of the only other head coaches in the country to win a national championship? I mean, it makes sense why kids want to come here, not just for money. You know what I mean? Like so I think that there's more to it than just the NIL stuff, but I do think that played a little part.